So I recently had a company called Kaer, I do believe that's how you pronounce it, reach out to me and want me to do a review on this gun safe. And we're going to use that word safe very loosely. But honestly, they reached out to me at about the perfect time because, well, all my gun safes are pretty much completely full, and I got a lot of new stuff coming into the channel, and I have nowhere to put it. So let's check this out. So let's talk about what to expect when this gun safe shows up at your house. Now, this safe is completely unassembled. It's going to show up in a brown cardboard box. It's about 5 foot tall by 2 foot wide, and it's only about 10 inches deep. Now, I was able to move this safe from the front porch back here to the studio by myself because the safe only weighs 81 pounds. But to some people, 81 pounds is still going to be quite a bit, so you may need a second person to help you carry it to wherever you're going to set it up. Now, as far as assembly time went on this safe, it took me about an hour, but it would have taken longer, but my wife came home from work and she helped me finish up the safe. If you try to do this by yourself, it's probably going to take you around an hour and a half to put it together. But with 2 people, it definitely helps, and you can knock it out in about an hour. So let's talk about the hardware and everything that comes in the box to put this safe together. Now, it does come with an instruction manual, and it's actually a pretty decent manual. It's easy to understand, and it's pretty detailed on putting this together. It also comes with this little power pack, and we'll talk about this later on in the video, what this does, but this is a nice little added feature that it comes with. Now, this whole entire cabinet, and that's what we're going to call it, it's a gun cabinet. It really isn't a gun safe, but it is all held together with these very small black sheet metal screws. Now, all the holes are drilled, and you can put this together by hand with the provided screwdriver that comes with it. It is a Phillips head screwdriver, and I do believe it's magnetized, so it does hold the screws on the end of the driver, which is pretty cool. Now, I used an impact gun to put it together, but if you want to put it together by hand, you can do that. Now, it also comes with some pretty decent anchors. If you want to use this to mount it to the floor or you want to mount it to the wall, you can. It also comes with these clips that you can move up and down to adjust your shelf height wherever you want it. And there was actually a couple extra screws and a couple extra clips, so if you do lose one, they got you covered. Now, I thought this was kind of funny, but they also provide a pair of white gloves if you want to wear gloves while you put this safe together. So all in all, I was pretty happy with the hardware kit that came with the safe or gun cabinet. All right, now that we've got all the hardware, the assembly, and all that out of the way, let's start talking about the actual gun safe or cabinet. I really need to quit calling it a gun safe. So if you go to the Kaer website, they have quite a few options for different gun safes. This particular model is the 1450, and this is called an 8 to 12 multi-function gun safe. So we're going to start off right here on the front with how to get this safe opened up. Now, this has 2 options to open it. You've got your knob here, which is what you're going to turn to pull the locking bolt back into the safe, but it does have a touchpad if you want to use the electronic way to open this safe, and you can also slide this out of the way if the battery were to go dead you can use the provided keys that come with the gun safe. And it does come with 2 keys, and this is what they look like. So if you're going to open this safe electronically, the first thing you're going to have to do is touch any of the buttons here and wait for the blue light to come on, and then you're going to enter your code. And then you hit the pound key. You'll hear it click, and you're going to turn the knob clockwise, and it's going to open up. And then when you close it, you're going to take your knob, turn it counterclockwise, and it's locked. Now, if you choose to use the key, you're going to stick your key in, turn it counterclockwise, and turn the knob clockwise, and open it up. Now, remember when I was talking about this little power pack? Now, what this is for is if you were to lose your keys and the batteries inside the safe were to go dead and you cannot get in it, this has a little cord, looks like a headphone jack, that is going to plug in to the bottom, just like that. And now this will power the control pad so you can get this opened up and replace the batteries inside. Now, once the safe is open, this is what's behind the control pad. If you look here, this actually has a safe light. So when you first open it up, this light will stay on for a few seconds and it lights up inside the safe. That's a pretty cool feature. If you notice right here, there is a green button. And once you dive into the instruction manual, it will tell you exactly how to put your own code in for your keypad. So you can put any number you want in there. I just keyed this safe to the same exact code that I have for all the other safes. And if you look right here, this little panel pops off, and this runs on 4 AA batteries, which I really like this because all my other safes use 9 volt. I've always got extra AA batteries around. Now, you're also going to notice when you open up the box and you start getting all the parts out to put this together that it does come with a second set of keys. And this key is for this box inside the safe. Turn that and open it up. Now, I thought this was pretty cool because if a thief is to break into the safe and you've got some really important documents in here or cash, whatever you want to put in here, now they have another door to get in. Not that it's that hard to get into it, but it is a pretty cool extra feature on the safe. Now let's start talking about realistically how many guns you can get in this safe. Now they call it an 8 to 12, and you could get more than 12 guns in this safe, but you're not going to get more than 12 rifles in this safe. In fact, I don't even think you can get that many in here. So we'll start off on the right side of the safe when you're looking at it, and this is where you're going to put your long guns. Now, it does come with 3 foam pads to lock your barrels in, and you can pretty much configure these any way you want. You can raise them up and down, you can take them out, so it's pretty versatile to configure your rifles however you want. And right above the rifles, there is another shelf where you can put some handguns in there or magazines or whatever else you want. Now, when you open up the door on this cabinet and you look at the back side of the door, there's also a couple extra shelves there. Now, I tried a few different configurations on this. I've got the T-Saws Night Stalker inside the door, which fit just fine, and it's a pretty big gun. It's got a comp on it. It's fairly long, and it fit with no issues. So pretty much any other handgun you have will fit in that spot. You could also use it to put AR-15 mags. I also tried that out. You can get quite a few AR-15 mags across there. And then I went and grabbed a few miscellaneous Glock magazines and put them in there. So there's a lot you can do with those shelves on the back side of the door. Now, keep in mind, those are all metal. And if you're using it to put a couple extra handguns in the cabinet, well, you could get some scratches on your handguns. So if you are going to use it for storing your handguns, I would probably get some like foam padding or some toolbox pads or something like that to line it with, just so you're not tearing up the finish on your guns. Now, if we move over to the left side of the safe, we already went over the extra lock box that's up at the top. And if you look below that, you have multiple shelves. That's where those silver clips come into play that I showed you earlier in the video. And you can adjust the height of those shelves up and down. You can also take them out. If you only want to store long guns in this safe, you can do that, and then you have the extra room over there. And you also have the option to remove that lockbox. So if you don't want to use it, you can just take it completely out, and then you have an extra shelf there to store whatever you want. Now, if you look at what I've done on this side of the safe, I've got some pistol racks in there, and we're going to have a separate review video on those because they're actually pretty cool. And I really like having these racks in here because instead of just sticking a gun on top of the shelf or stacking guns on top of guns, I've got a nice organized system. I can store 3 guns on each shelf. They are protected by the foam padding on the pistol rack, and they work out really well. Now, you also have to keep in mind, if you are going to put pistol racks in this safe like I've done, make sure you measure everything before you order a rack, or you can wait till I put out the review video on those racks and I'll tell you exactly what will fit inside this cabinet. Now, the last thing I want to talk about the features and what's on the inside of the safe, this was something I forgot to cover when we were talking about the inside of the door. Up at the very top, there are some hooks, and you can hang multiple things there. You could use it to hang slings on, or if you've got keys that you want to keep locked up, you can hang spare sets of keys to your car. I haven't quite figured out what I'm going to use those hooks for, but it's another cool option that they included with this safe. So now I want to talk about the pros and cons of this gun cabinet, because let's face it, that's what it is. Now, I've got an actual gun safe right over here across from me. I've got this one behind me, and I've got this one over here. And when you open up a safe and you close the safe, there are locking bolts that lock up inside the actual safe. Now, this technically does have those, but it's only got 2. And one of the biggest problems I see with these locking bolts is when you engage them, they're only sticking out of the safe door about 1 inch, and there's just not a lot of contact surface inside this cabinet, which would make it pretty easy to take a pry bar and pop the door on this cabinet. And that's going to lead into another con about the actual door itself. So when I get products like this into review, I will go watch other YouTubers that have reviewed these same products just to do some research and maybe find out a few things about the product that aren't on the website or in the instruction manual. So I stumbled on this channel called Handgun Safe. And this guy's actually got a really good channel and a lot of good information. In fact, I subbed his channel, and I will tag his video in the description below if you want to go check it out. This guy actually took a flathead screwdriver and he stuck it in the key lock and he started to turn it and he got it to break. Now, he could not get the bolt to unlock twisting the screwdriver by hand. But then he went and grabbed a pair of channel locks and put it on the screwdriver, and then he was able to pop the lock, and then he was able to turn the bolt knob, and voila, he was in the gun safe. And it didn't take him very long. I'm guessing in the video it was less than 2 minutes. So that's something that you really want to keep in mind when you buy something like this. These are very easy to break into. And I could probably keep going on and on about cons with something like this, but the last thing we'll talk about is the actual construction of the safe itself. Like I said, I put this whole thing together with those little tiny black sheet metal screws, and I do believe this is only constructed out of 14 gauge steel. I could go out to my plumbing van and grab my Sawzall, and I could cut this safe in half pretty fast. And really the only thing that's really safe-like on this is the actual door itself. When you do get this out of the box, the door is completely assembled, and you're putting the sides, the bottom, the top, and the back all together with those sheet metal screws. Now, I know that was a lot of cons and negative comments about this cabinet, and I am very appreciative that Kaer sent this out for me to review, and I do have some positive things to say about this gun cabinet. As of the time I'm recording this video, I got on their website, and you can pick this up for 285 beans, which I don't think is too bad, especially with inflation and everything's expensive right now. Gun safes are through the roof, and a lot of people just don't have the money or the truck to transport an actual really heavy gun safe. And let's face it, this option is better than just having your guns sitting against the wall in your house. The other thing that I do like about this is that, like we talked about earlier, it only weighs 81 pounds. You can order it off their website and have it shipped directly to your house, and 1 or 2 people can easily get this thing moved into the area where you want to put it together. And the other pro with this, from my perspective, I'm actually going to use this gun safe, and I'm going to put guns in it. But I live in a different situation than a lot of other people. I live in a housing development. I've got neighbors on the left side of my house, the right side of my house, and across the street from my house. And a lot of the people that live in my neighborhood are elderly people. They're retired and they're home all day. I also have a very nice alarm system on my house. And I also have cameras all the way around the outside of my house. And I have cameras back here in the studio. So there's a lot of things a thief is going to have to get through in order to get back here in my studio to get to these gun safes. Now, is that to say that someone can't steal this, break into it, whatever? No. And I'm always going to prefer having an actual real gun safe like this one in front of me or this one right here versus something like this. But like I said a few minutes ago, this is better than nothing. Now, I will say this, the packaging on this wasn't bad at all. There was a lot of styrofoam in there keeping things protected. I could not find any scratches or damage on this cabinet when I got it, so I was pretty happy about that. And they do have a guarantee that nothing will be damaged on this safe when you get it, and it does come with a 2-year warranty. But all in all, I'm happy enough with this. I'm going to use it. And if I have issues with it or problems with it down the road, we'll come back and do an update video, and I'll let you know what happened. But as of right now, this thing's working great. Every time I punch my code into the keypad, I get right in the safe, and I don't have any complaints. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.